My name's Harrison Brand, and ever since I was a kid, I've been fascinated with the science of archaeology. I want to learn more about the incredible civilizations that lived here in Arizona long before European contact. And today, I'm on the hunt for ancient artwork from a long-gone civilization. I'm hiking on the Hieroglyphic Trail near Gold Canyon in Arizona. Despite the name, the ancient rock art that we're going to be looking for today are not hieroglyphics at all, but are instead categorized as petroglyphs. Petroglyphs are designs pecked, incised, or abraded onto rock surfaces. As I started hiking down the trail, I was amazed at the variety of desert plant life that surrounded me. Have a look at these absolutely beautiful saguaros. These were absolutely everywhere. There are also tons of these teddy bear cactus and a wide variety of other desert succulents. Much of this plant life would have been very familiar to the local people that lived here that's associated with the rock art we're about to see, the Hohokam. The Hohokam were farmers, gatherers, and hunters who lived in the river valleys and deserts of southern Arizona from about 300 to 1450 AD. Most of the rock art in the area appears to be from the Hohokam period. Along with the plant life, there are also tons of animals on the trail, including this beautiful collared lizard sunning themselves up on a rock. I was hoping to try and catch them, but man, these lizards are super fast. All of these organisms were extremely important to the Hohokam culture. When they weren't tending to their crops, the Hohokam explored and exploited the environment around them. They hunted bighorn sheep, deer, caught fish, and other animals that shared their world. They would also gather food, such as cholla buds, during the spring, and in early summer, the Hohokam would have collected saguaro and prickly pear fruits. Perhaps what the Hohokam are most famous for were their complex network of irrigation canals, which rivaled the ones built by ancient Rome. These canals, some as long as 10 miles, rerouted the Gila and Salt River to water their fields. The Hohokam grew all sorts of crops, from corn, beans, and even squash. They also would have gathered things like wild beans, and another important crop was cotton, which they used to make cloth. Probably the strangest thing that we came across was this weird rock. After touching it, I found out it wasn't a rock at all. It was actually plastic. Underneath was a pink logbook. Someone had written down their name. I decided to write down my own name and add the Tyrannostoris as a shout-out. I hope that person comes back and maybe learns a little bit more about what we do, getting people excited about science and natural history. Something else that we found that was a little bit more disappointing was this used water bottle. Remember, if you ever find trash on a trail, be sure to pick it up and dispose of it properly. Let's leave our trails better than we found them. The local rock hounder in me couldn't resist looking around to see what cool rocks were in the area. Look at these beautiful chalcedony crystals. They're so sparkly. We finally started seeing our first petroglyphs. This one is an excellent example of an abstract design. Abstract designs include geometric forms and curvilinear lines. Spirals such as this one are actually quite common. Just around the corner were even more petroglyphs. Petroglyph artists preferred patinaed surfaces. Patina is a natural geological process that results in a dark coating on rock surfaces. It's also known as desert varnish. Chipping away on a patinaed surface exposes the lighter color beneath. Different methods were used to create the petroglyphs. Pecking was the most common method used, and was accomplished by a direct blow with a hammerstone or indirectly by striking a stone held against the rock face with a second stone or hammerstone. I was so close that if I wanted to, I could reach out and touch this ancient art, but that was the last thing on my mind. Like all things in nature, these petroglyphs are fragile and could be permanently damaged by even just touching them. It's much better to observe them from afar and enjoy them for what they are. Keep in mind, too, this rock art is protected by the Antiquities Act. Anyone who marks or destroys any prehistoric site could be fined or even imprisoned. These petroglyphs have remained intact since before the 1400s. Let's work together and keep them that way. Now, this is probably the most impressive petroglyph that we've found so far. It's one of the largest, too. This appears to be a depiction of a centipede. I wonder what was going through the minds of the people that made these petroglyphs and the symbolism behind some of the animals presented here. Perhaps these were some of the animals that the Hohokam culture would have hunted actively for. Perhaps they were also depictions of animals to watch out for, like centipedes. Who knows? It could also just be art for art's sake. How amazing is that? Here's an animal also that the early people that lived here would have probably wanted to keep an eye out for. This depicts a large cat, possibly a mountain lion, or maybe even a jaguar. But very cool attention to detail. You can tell right away that it does depict some sort of large feline. Man, that's so cool. By far, my favorite petroglyphs at this site are the representational designs of different animals. There are all sorts of different creatures depicted here, from mountain sheep, deer, reptiles, invertebrates, and even large predators like mountain lions and other big cats. You can see where water would have ran through this particular area, and oftentimes we find artifacts and petroglyphs near water, which totally makes sense. In a world without plumbing, you'd want to live where the water is, essentially. Oh man. This was quite a hike, but it was totally worth it to come up here. This has been an incredible experience, and I'm learning a ton about petroglyphs. Rock art like this is very common here in the American Southwest, and it can tell us so much about what was going through the minds of some of these people from beyond recorded history, hundreds, if not thousands of years ago. So why did these people actually make this artwork? Well, there's numerous possibilities. Some of the possible purposes of this rock art could include things like hunting, fertility, or ritual symbols. These could be boundary markers or landmarks. They could also help record important events. They could represent clan symbols, decorations, solstice, or calendar markers. They could even have just been made for the sake of art. The word Hohokam is borrowed from the Udam language and is used by archaeologists to identify these groups of people who lived here in the Sonoran Desert. The name literally translates to those who are gone or those who have perished. Indeed, the Hohokam people abandoned most of their settlements between 1350 and 1450 AD. A great drought, combined with a subsequent period of sparse and unpredictable rainfall, is thought to have contributed to their disappearance. But did these people really disappear without a trace? Interestingly enough, the Pema and Tonoho Udam tribes are believed to be direct descendants of the Hohokam. It was time to head back home, but I've left with a newfound respect for the ancient civilizations that lived in this beautiful part of North America. If you want to learn more about archaeology and ancient human history, come check us out at the Tyrannostorus.